Here's the first plant I'm going to be repotting today. It's my Philodendron 69686. She has a new leaf right here. And she also has a flower. I don't know if you can see that. But she is flowering, and I have no idea what is causing that. She's not close to any light source. Well, not close enough to feel like she should grow any flowers. So let's go ahead and get her unpotted and see what's going on with her roots. Ooh, okay, so let me show you some. She has a moss pole that she was shipped with, and I do not like these kind of moss poles, but I didn't want to take it out because when she arrived, she actually didn't have any leaves. She was stuck in the mail for like a month, and I'm surprised she survived. So I was able to get a cutting from her, which is in another pot somewhere around the house, and I was able to get her to grow back. And this is how big she got, and she's still growing, so she got very happy. So I'm gonna cut off anything that was holding her to this old moss pole because I do plan to give her a new one. This plant is so big. So let's see if I can do this without breaking any leaves. And the reason why I'm going to give her a new moss pole is because the one she has had a wooden base to it, and I believe it rotted. That's why it is flying all over the place. So let me see. Ooh. She has grown into the moss pole a lot. Let me see if I can show you how much she's grown here. She was in a controlled environment in one of my exos, and she started wrapping around the moss pole this way. So I'm going to try to remove her from the moss pole without damaging any of these aerial roots and see if I can get them to attach to the new pole I'm going to add. And since she is growing a new leaf, I'm going to try to be very careful not to upset her too much. So let's see. Here's the original cocoa core pole that came with the plant that rotted off. This is why I don't like using the ones that have the wood base, because after a while being in any substrate, it's going to rot and break. Oh, I found it. Here's the bottom of the cocoa core moss pole, the cocoa core pole, the wooden stake. So I'm going to be repotting this plant back into the original pot. I don't think that it's very root bound. I just think that it was really in desperate need of a new moss pole. And I'm going to have to try to find a place for her to move her further away from the light. So let me lay her down without breaking anything. Okay. Here's the moss pole I'll be putting onto the plant. And if you don't know, you can find these moss poles on my website at plantlovingj.com. The good thing about my moss pole is that it doesn't have a wooden stake, so no matter how long it sits in the substrate with the plant, it's not going to rot or break. to make sure she's as secure as possible in her new pot because she was really struggling in her old one. So here's the moss pole and what she looks like. I'm going to try to push the soil down into the pot just a little bit more to kind of support the pole, because the pole supports the plant without hitting everything in the house. The soil that she's planting in is actually very airy, so she should be happy in this substrate. And these gloves do not stand a chance today. So if I can pick her up without holding the pot, I feel like she is secure in her new pot. What I might even do at a later time is take some saran wrap to encourage her aerial roots that she currently have to attach to the new moss pole. So I think I'm going to try that right now. I'm going to go grab some saran wrap and see if I can wrap them around her existing area roots and see if they will reattach to her new pole. Can you see those roots? All right, next plant. All right. The next plant I'm going to repot is going to be this Dieffenbachia. I don't know what kind it is. This is actually my grandmother's plant. It's been in the family for a while. I received a cutting of her from a family member. Last year she got too tall. She was touching the ceiling, so I chopped her all the way back. I gave the top cutting to my mother, and I have her in pieces right now. So she's currently in this vase, and she has reached the bottom and she's drinking up her water way too fast, and I think she needs a bigger pot. Let's see if I can show you her. She's actually starting to pop out pretty good. She's just wild and crazy. She's getting some of the best light. I don't even know how to show you her. She is a wild. Can you see her? These are some of her old original leaves. Let me see. Can you see her new growth point right here? She's shot out. And I kind of want to cut her, but I'm just going to wait to see. And after this repot, I'm going to take her outside and give her a bath. Her needs need to be washed, and she needs a little bit of some Captain Jack's from the looks of it. The one thing about this plant is it can have some type of bugs, but it'll still push out some new leaves. So I can see she needs a good wash down right now. Okay, funny story. I have changed my mind and I am going to chop her back and go ahead and repot all 4 pieces into this ventilated pot. It's also, let me see. The new plastic ventilated pot also is much wider, so I believe all 4 pieces will fit in here and she'll be able to root perfectly fine. Let's get into this, because I see something going on and I'm gonna just have to take care of her. So here's the first piece I'm gonna cut, and she's very well rooted as well. So can you see her? So first, let's see. I'm gonna chop her right here. Okay, so that's one cutting of this baby, which is a very, very mature plant. And I'm gonna go ahead and put something on the bottom of her so she can heal a little bit more quickly, because she will be getting repotted today. So let me go ahead and take her out of this pot real quick so I can cut the next piece a little bit lower. Okay, can see she was growing very well. In that pot. When I put her in there, she didn't have any roots. So this is her today, and she'll be getting a new home. I think I'm gonna cut her right here. So I cut her a little lower because this piece actually has its own root, and she's still a baby, even though she's trying to, well, she's not trying to, she's actually pushing out some new leaves and has grown a new growth point as well. Let me fish her out of this pot. So there's her root. And I'm gonna let this callus over for maybe about 30 minutes or so, and then I'll go ahead and give her a new home. Let's get on to the next plant I'm gonna be repotting today. It looks very sad and looks like it can use a bigger pot, and I need to inspect her leaves because I have a feeling when I thought there wasn't thrips in here, I think there may have been. So let's get her out. So this is her. This plant is so easygoing. And I've never ever had any problems with her. But I'm wondering if she is getting too root bound in this pot. Sadly, I think she's been in this pot for over a year now. It could actually be a little longer than that. I mean, she was so full and bushy, and then all of a sudden out of nowhere, she just started dropping all of her leaves. She's so pretty though. I don't know what this is actually. So she's in a 6-inch nursery pot that she came in, I think, and I converted her to leca when she was living outside, and she's been thriving. Okay, I think she's root bound. I'm sorry. I think she's root bound in here. Looks like she's very established in this pot and could use a bigger home. So let's go ahead and get to that. So the plant was root bound, and she must have been root bound for way too long because all those roots, I went to go wash her off because they didn't look too good to me. And as you can see, she got root rot. And I think it was because she was sitting in that pot too long without being up potted to where she can actually breathe some more. So what I'm gonna do is put her in a little bit of peroxide and water for a little bit and just let her work herself out. So here's some peroxide. I'm just gonna go crazy. I don't have no measurements or anything for the amount of peroxide I use. But at the same time, I'm not gonna leave her in here for long. I'm gonna let her sit in here maybe 15, maybe 10 minutes. Because once the peroxide gets added to the plant, it starts working to me pretty quickly. And, you know, the plant is already upset. I'm not going to put her through any more shock by leaving her sitting in a container full with peroxide. I'm just going to continue to remove anything dying off. I think I'm going to have to start her all over. I should have known better. But this is what I get for being a lazy plant parent. So that's kind of unfortunate, but I have nobody to blame but myself. And I'm going to get her right though. Don't worry. She's going to come back better than ever. She looks like she has a stalk similar to the Dieffenbachia, so I know she'll grow a lot of roots right here on this stem. And we'll see. I'm going to have to insert a picture of her when she was doing really well with very, very low care. And I guess I took advantage of that, thinking that she didn't need a lot of care or attention. She's always been thriving and growing a lot, shooting out a lot of leaves. that's okay. Lesson learned. Don't be a lazy plant parent. And we're gonna get her good, so let's not worry. I won't worry. I've let the Dieffenbachia sit with a little bit rooting hormone on the parts that I cut her in, and now I'm gonna go ahead and repot her up with the other pieces that are already rooted. So here are the pieces that are already rooted. Here goes the shortest piece. I'm not gonna be able to, let's see. Here's the biggest chunk that was in there, and it's very well rooted and the roots look nice and healthy. So I'm gonna go ahead and put her in a bigger pot with the other pieces that I cut, and hopefully she's not too upset. So here's the final result of the Dieffenbachia. I think that once she continues to grow some new roots and gets more established in her pot, she'll look a lot better. And I'm kind of excited to see the new growth that's going to come from the stems that I've cut. So I'm just going to give her some nutrient water and put her in a place with bright light as she was before, and just wait to see her grow. So I'm back with this beautiful plant that's a little sad from having root rot. But I'm going to go ahead and repot her. Get this situated. But I'm going to go ahead and repot her in a clear pot so I can monitor the roots coming in and just kind of check on her from time to time and do a little bit better than I did in the past. And here she goes. I've rinsed, I let her sit in hydrogen peroxide and water. No specific ratio, just threw her in there and just let her go ahead and go for it. So since this plant, from what I think I know, which clearly isn't a lot if it's dying, so I'm going to go ahead and just put her in this pot and not give her a lot of water until she gets her roots back. Once her roots grow back in, I'll continue to give her the same level of water that she had before. So let's recap some of the plant care I did today. First, I'm going to start off with this Dieffenbachia. She was put into a wider pot, and she was cut into a few more pieces so she can grow some new different growth points. I will go ahead and put her back in a very sunny spot so she can get plenty of light. Next, I have this plant that we had to show some extra TLC. She had a lot of root rot, and I waited too long to check on her roots, but that's okay. Lesson learned. But I know she's gonna be okay because she has never been a problem, and I'm surprised she still has all of these leaves. And once she gets some roots, I'm sure she'll continue to push out more growth. So that's her. And the last plant that we're going to recap is my Philodendron 69686, which barely fits into the frame. And like I said earlier, she does have a flower growing in, and I really want to snap it off. But I'm going to wait till the time is right so I don't damage any of the leaves, because the leaf that she's growing in with is actually the newest leaf, and I've been trying to figure out why this leaf was taking so long to harden off, and come to find out it has a flower poking out, which is pretty rare for me. I think I've only seen that on a philodendron maybe once before. She's very happy. I was able to put her right back into the substrate she already was in. She was in some very aerated soil mix. I really just upgraded her moss pole because she is a climber and she deserved it. She's been doing so well. So that's her. So these are all the plant chores I have for today. Once again, I want to thank you for watching my video. If you liked any of the content today, please don't forget to like and subscribe. Thank you.